Hi, I thought I'd show you the method of pore filling I've decided to use on this guitar. Over the years I've used lots of different pore filling methods. I started out with paste wood filler, tinted with some dye or oil-based paint. Then I've also used aqua coat, which is a water-based pore filler. I've used epoxy quite a bit, and the method I'm going to use today I like because it's simple, effective, quick to dry, and so you don't have to do as much of the weighting that you have to do with pore fillers such as epoxy or oil-based pore fillers. The method that I'm going to use is Robbie O'Brien's method that he's shown on some YouTube videos of using wood dust and shellac as your pore filler, which works really well under French polish actually, which I'm going to be doing on this guitar. And so what I did was, first of all, I made some rosewood dust right in here in my spice jar. All you do is take a scrap piece of rosewood and sand the end grain on a belt sander and catch the dust and put it in a container. And it creates a very, very fine dust. And since it's from the rosewood, it will match perfectly to the wood. And I also did some mahogany dust for filling the pores in my neck, which is mahogany. And so I've already done one application on both the neck and the soundbox. What you do between applications is just very lightly sand it with maybe 320 grit sandpaper. And you don't remove the dust, because that will just help you to have the dust on there, because you're going to be using that dust as well to fill the pores. And so let me show you my second application. But first I need to just lightly sand. And so I have some 320 grit right here, just on a small, it's an eraser, art gum eraser kind of cut down. And I'm just going to just very lightly sand it to get any of the, nubs that are sticking above the surface. And that's it. And then what I do is I take just cheesecloth, and I'm kind of combining some of the methods I've learned in Tom Bill's French polishing course, which I'll be using that method when I get to the French polish. But he uses cheesecloth. He uses pumice and shellac for his pore fill. But I've decided not to do that on this one. But you take some cheesecloth and you basically have a square, and then you fold it into thirds, and then you fold it into thirds again. This is dirty because I've already used this one. And then you kind of make a airplane, a point, fold this part up, and then you fold the wings in, and you end up with kind of a triangle piece. When you're doing the French polishing bodying sessions, you actually cover this with t-shirt or linen or something. But for initial pore filling and initial coats of shellac, you can just use the cheesecloth as it is. And so what I do is I have this, and then what I've been doing is I take some alcohol and just kind of put a glub onto the cheesecloth, and I forgot to put a piece of paper down for the shellac dust. So I'll be back. Okay, here's a piece of paper. That's just so I can easily sprinkle the, not shellac dust as I said earlier, but the wood dust. And so here's rosewood dust right here. I don't know if you can see that, but I've just put it on some paper here. And what I do is I take, once again, my cheesecloth little pad, put some alcohol and kind of dab it onto the dust. And I kind of pat the dust onto the pad, and then I just put a glove of shellac on there. Okay, and then what I do is I take a piece of paper towel. I take the pad and I just kind of use circular motions and rub that dust and shellac into the surface. Usually it's taken me maybe 3 or 4 applications to fill the rosewood pores. The mahogany pores on the neck take maybe just 1 or 2. Those fill really quickly. And then it's kind of like a French polishing motion. Circular motions going against the grain as much as you can, because that kind of forces the dust into the pores. And then I put some more alcohol, grab some more dust, and put another glove of shellac, and then continue. So I do another small section. I like this method because it's just so simple. No fumes of epoxy or oil-based filler or anything. And you don't have to wait for it to dry or cure before you can put on another coat. Also, you don't have to do the crazy sanding that you have to do sometimes with other methods, such as epoxy. Put some more alcohol, dab some more dust onto the pad, like that. Put a little bit of shellac on there. This is 1 pound cut shellac that I mixed up yesterday. And just continue. I avoid hitting the edges because the bloodwood can bleed, and I don't need to fill the bloodwood pores, but that color can bleed into the rosewood if you're not careful. I already did run a couple of coats of shellac over the bindings to protect the rosewood and the spruce on the other side from the bloodwood possibly bleeding into the surrounding wood. But it's good to just avoid touching that bloodwood binding at all. Okay, so far I've done like about that much. So I'll just continue with some more alcohol rather. Some more dust on the pad. And some more of the 1 pound cut shellac. I'm using medium dark blonde shellac this time. Okay, I think I'll go up here. And as I'm rubbing the dust into the pores, I'm trying to go against the grain primarily. If you go along with the grain, you run the risk of possibly pulling the dust out of the pores. I really like working with shellac. It's just so easy. And relaxing. And even if this does take quite a few coats, I have no idea yet. It's just so relaxing, and I can still finish it all in one day, in a few hours probably, rather than over a period of several days, as I would have to with epoxy. Okay, so I've done about half. I've done this much, and that's basically the process. So I wanted to show you it's the same process working on the neck, only you're using mahogany dust and filling the pores with that instead. Okay, that's all I wanted to show you, and I can't wait until I get to the actual French polish stage, which is what I love. Okay, so long.